Well, I'm Allen Jacobi. I'm an entertainment attorney. I deal with media. I deal with television, music, film, just about everything that's entertaining. Even handle fine art,
Oh, really?
books, yeah, novels, just about everything you can think of.
Right. And you've been in Miami how long?
Born here,
Born and raised in Miami.
you bet. First 6 years of law, I was a trial attorney. I represented all sorts of criminals, and that was the era of the cocaine cowboy.
Ooh.
And I also represented the Church of Scientology, which was all First Amendment litigation, which I loved.
How did you get into the entertainment side of it?
Well, I was always a music fan, film buff. It was all second nature to me. The most important thing when I went away to college was how to get my records there with me, and had a stereo in my room, which was pretty rare back then. But music's always been essential to my life, so it made sense that I would gravitate to representing people who made music, people who released music. That was just sort of my call.
So was your first client a Miami artist or?
My first client was a production company that had signed a jazz singer out of the University of Miami, Carmen Lundy. She went on to become quite well known in the jazz, true jazz area. She moved to New York and had a pretty good career. So I think we started out in the right direction by being able to have an ear for really good talent.
Okay. What was your first Miami?
Well, she was from Miami.
Oh, she was from Miami.
Oh yeah, she went to UM. I think she was from here too, but she was in the music department at the UM. A lot of just indie artists trying to make it. So what I did is I went to Criteria Studios.
Okay.
And left a lot of my cards. They were nice enough to let me do that. So at the reception desk at Criteria Studios was my little rack of business cards. So I get a call one day from a guitar player by the name of George Terry, who said, "We need a lawyer for Eric Clapton's band." And I said, "I'll be right there." And I ran downstairs. My office was on 125th Street. Jumped into my car, drove over to Criteria, sat down with the entire band. They needed, Eric had agreed to give them 1 point each on an album and $1,000 a night to perform. We're talking about late 70s at this point. And I got to meet all the guys. I met Eric. It was, his deal, but he wanted them to have their own guy to draft it for them, which I did. And they stayed together for many years. And a lot of the records back there are from Eric Clapton.
Yeah, I see you have a lot of gold records. What's the biggest one you think you worked with back there on that wall?
I suppose Eric. Miami Sound Machine, pretty big.
Oh, you worked with them? Gloria?
Yeah, that's back here.
Okay.
A lot of, I had a percentage of a label called Radio Records. We put out a record called Stars on 45, which was a #1 record in 1981, and that's back here. And also, Two Live Crew is pretty big.
Tell us about that. That's what we want to hear.
Two Live Crew. I get a call one day. Can you meet with Luke? Sure. They had an office on Biscayne Boulevard, pretty small office at the time. I think the only thing he had out was Two Lives Is What We Are and Move Something. Those were the two albums. And they were about to put out As Nasty As We Want to Be. Of course, it's still back there.
Right.
And I remember they sent me 2 different versions of the album. One was called As Nasty As They Want to Be. The other was called As Clean As They Want to Be. So I listened to both records. And I went back and I said, listen, Pretty Woman, Dirty is not going to work. It's just another version. But Pretty Woman on the Clean album is going to work because it's a parody. A parody is part of First Amendment. You have a right to make fun politically, socially, and of course, part of the important part of it is that you're making fun of the original song.
Mm.
So his Pretty Woman, she's ugly. And it ends with, baby's not mine. So it's kind of the opposite of what the Roy Orbison version was, where she takes his breath away. He can hardly speak in her presence, and this one is putting her down.
Oh. Okay.
So, of course, we won. It went all the way to the Supreme Court of the United States, and we prevailed. It was a parody.
And that's before the ban in the USA.
Well, that album is when they got arrested for performing it in Fort Lauderdale, and then I was able to try the criminal case, which was a pornography trial, which of course we won as well. The jury came back in Luke's favor, and I was one of the attorneys trying that case, and it was quite an experience. A lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, I saw you on some of the footage on there, and
Yeah.
you even on the actual song, "Banned in the USA."
Yeah,
right?
I'm the first opening words. Luke's concerts are for adults.
Luke's concerts are for adults.
That's cool.
There's also a show on Netflix now called Hip Hop Evolution, and what it is a series of the evolution of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
And the Southern Stories is the one that I'm in, where they talk about Luke and the court cases, and I'm quoted as saying the First Amendment is alive and well in America.
All right. Okay, and do you still practice entertainment law?
That's what I do every day. It's grown, it's changed. Now, I gave a speech at one of the law schools about 6 or 8 months ago, and about 50 kids in the audience at this law school, and I said, how many people have smartphones? Of course, every hand went up. I said, how many people have a music service on that smartphone? And every hand went up. How many have more than one music service on your smartphone? And every hand went up. And I said, welcome to the future of the music business. It's actually the future of the entertainment business. If you're not connected, you're not part of it. Everything we get from music to movies to news is all on that device that's in your pocket or your purse.
That's right. That's absolutely right. When I got on the elevator, I seen it said Pyramid Records. Can you explain to us what Pyramid Records is?
Yeah. Having shopped acts to the labels, I would make regular trips to New York and Los Angeles. Probably New York once every other month for years and years, and LA 4 times a year. One of the executives at then CBS, Columbia, said to me, Allen, you're really into the music side. You're not just a lawyer. You're someone who's really passionate about music. Why don't you have a label? I said, is that an offer? And he said, yes. And that's how Pyramid started. CBS gave me Pyramid Records. I had a partner, and we put out Stray Cats, and The Band, and ultimately Stephen Stills, Joe Walsh, on and on.
And that worked out pretty good for you?
Sure did. Great fun, and we made some money.
Okay, that's good. Are you still in contact with any other guys?
A little bit, every now and then. If they come to town, I'll give them a call, say hello. But the music business is interesting that way. It's evolutionary. Move on. Music moves on. People move on. So tend to create new relationships. Now my relationships are mostly hip hop artists.
Hip hop. So with that being said, how do you feel about the current state of hip hop, especially in South Florida?
Okay. the good part is the business is back. The music industry is, last time I read something, it was 12 billion. At its height, before the crunch, it was 14 billion. So we're very close, and in its worst, it was like 6 billion. So it's made a huge comeback because of streaming. That being said, I'm not sure I understand mumble rap and most trap. I like to hear about something, and hip hop always told a tale. It might be about tale, but it always said something.
Right.
Now I don't understand a lot of what's being said. So now it's all come down to, I think it's about the beat, it's about production on the track, and not so much about the content.
Right. So are you actively putting out records now with that being said about?
No, because the business is back, I think it's much more interesting, and it's in my client's best interest to find them a deal at a major. Right now I'm in the process of negotiating a deal at Def Jam for an artist out of El Paso, Texas. And, let's see. The numbers are huge. The points are good. I don't think record deals have ever been as beneficial to artists and production companies as they are now.
Wow, for real?
Yeah.
Okay, as far as ownership or?
Possibly. Just the amount of money, the points. I mean, it's not unusual to get an 18-point deal. When I started out, it was 12. It's not unusual to get 100% mechanicals, which means paid full on your publishing. It used to be 3/4. So it's getting better, I think, since what happened was when sales were bad, 04, when sales were really, really bad, 03, 04, the record industry created something called the 360. The 360 was basically getting money from everything you did. Live, publishing, merchandise, fan club, because they had to make up for the lack of sales. Now that sales are back, I don't hear anybody getting rid of the 360. So now the labels have greater income than ever because they have a 360 and the sales are back. So it's a good time to be in the music business.
Right. And I heard somewhere that you negotiated Luke. I think it was his first major situation. I think it was Atlantic Records.
Yeah, we did a $5 million distribution deal at Atlantic with a pass-through, which means normally when a label gives you money, you don't get any more money until they get their money back. I was able to negotiate a deal where 1/3 of all the income passed through to Luke's company so he could function. And at the same time take the advance and do something hopefully creative and or like investment, do something that would create wealth for him.
Anything else you want to let the people know, how they can contact you, or should they contact you if they need?
I'm in the book. Look me up. My website's Allen Jacobi Law, and I'm always looking for the next great star.
Okay, well, I know you're a busy man, so I'm going to go ahead and get out your way. I appreciate you.
Pleasure. Enjoyed it.
All right, thanks a lot.